I remember when I was 8 and played with toy farm animals with my little sister, only to sit down and read adult nonfiction on dogs 30 minutes later. In today's video, I'm breaking down asynchronous development for you by answering 4 questions. What is asynchronous development in gifted children? What are examples of asynchronous development? What are key concepts of asynchronous development? And what are the challenges of asynchronous development in gifted children? Let's start the show. 1. What is asynchronous development in gifted children? To portray the characteristics of atypical development accurately, the Columbus Group proposed the following definition of giftedness. Giftedness is asynchronous development in which advanced cognitive abilities and heightened intensity combine to create inner experiences and awareness that are qualitatively different than the norm. This asynchrony increases with higher intellectual capacity. The uniqueness of the gifted renders them particularly vulnerable and requires modifications in parenting, teaching, and counseling in order for them to develop optimally. Asynchronous development is the hallmark of giftedness, and in a very real sense, as gifted children mature, they grow into their intellect and become more balanced. The more extreme the intellectual advancement is, the more extreme is the asynchrony. All gifted children have areas which develop at exaggerately different rates than neurotypical children. Their cognitive abilities and/or achievements are far ahead of their chronological age. Yet their physical development is likely typical for their age. This asynchrony is one of the things which is common to all gifted children and is the cause of misunderstanding, frustration, and some behavioral issues. The main reason for gifted children's social and emotional vulnerability is asynchronous development, whereby intellectual development is out of sync with social, emotional, and/or physical development. A gifted child who is developing asynchronously is at times capable of mature reasoning and can astound an adult with the depth of their conversation, yet at other times will throw a tantrum over a seemingly trivial issue and behave like a much younger child. As I said earlier, asynchronous maturation may result in differences in different areas of development, such as differences in a child's intellectual and physical development, or a difference in a child's intellectual and emotional development, or a difference in a child's intellectual and social development. In my case, my intellectual development wasn't so much out of sync with my physical development. I was tall for my age and hit puberty at the age of 9. My intellectual development was definitely out of sync with my emotional development and especially with my social development. 2. What are examples of asynchronous development in gifted children? Firstly, a child may be intellectually operating at the 10th grade level at age 9, but has not yet mastered how to ride a bike. Secondly, a 5-year-old may be reading at an 8th grade level, but he's at grade level in math. Thirdly, a young gifted child may cognitively understand difficult concepts like death and social injustice, but may not have the life experience to handle these concepts. Finally, when I was a gifted child, because of my asynchronous development, I couldn't identify with the peers at my school. I didn't share their interests,
and found their behavior puzzling and childish. I was unable and sometimes even unwilling to respond to them as they expected, and wasn't ready to cope with the school environment. School expected me to get along with my peers, but I couldn't. I felt completely out of place and was ostracized. So I suffered emotional and social complications, which profoundly affected my future.
3. What are key concepts of asynchronous development? 1. Increased asynchrony. As levels of giftedness increase, asynchrony may get more pronounced and social relationships may become more problematic.
2. Progressive development. The discrepancy between mental age and chronological age is progressive. That means that a 6-year-old child with a 9-year-old mind will become a 12-year-old with an 18-year-old mind, and so forth. 3. Anxiety. When a child realizes he's out of sync from his age mates, he may experience fear, anxiety, or depression. I, for instance, had my first existential depression when I was 11.
Question 4. What are the challenges of asynchronous development in gifted children? Number 1. Unfair expectations.
Parents or grown-ups often expect their asynchronously developing children to perform in unreasonable and unfair ways. Because these children are smart and speak and think like a much older child, parents often assume they have as much emotional control as a much older child, even at a young age. This assumption leads to expectations which are difficult to meet. Also, due to their intelligence, parents often expect their gifted child to excel academically with no effort on their part. These parents mightn't realize their gifted child still needs help. When a gifted child struggles in school, many parents find that difficult to understand. My kid's so smart, how can she or he be struggling?
Number 2. Emotional overexcitability and vulnerability. Gifted children not only think in different ways, but they also feel differently. When higher levels of emotional intensity combine with advanced cognitive skills, gifted children are more conscious of life events and experience more intense feelings. Their intelligence and compassion often make them aware that they are not emotionally ready to handle them. These children are often called too sensitive because they are highly sensitive to their environment and easily overwhelmed by it. 3. Struggle in social development. Gifted kids are considered more intelligent than other kids in their age group. Gifted children may solve problems in ways others cannot and see things differently than most people. Nevertheless, this does not mean that these students are always better at social adjustment than others. Sometimes they struggle to fit into social situations because their social development hasn't caught up yet. These kids may also have a hard time making and keeping friends. Some even experience bullying because of their differences and inferior social skills. Number 4. Trying to fit in. Socialization is a major issue for gifted kids. Asynchronous kids often feel lonely, not because they are unfriendly by nature, but because their attempts to fit in are quickly defeated. Other kids don't talk the same way, like the same things, or think about the same issues, as if gifted children were destined to live in social isolation and alienation. For the gifted child to feel normal, they must sometimes give up their beliefs, behaviors, and values. Intensive self-analysis, self-critique, and inability to acknowledge their limits can plague them. Gifted individuals who are introverted have low self-esteem and feel helpless. And sadly, as a result, are more prone to develop major depression. This information came from these websites. You'll find these links below this video.
So there you have it. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel and watch this series from the start. I don't know exactly in how many weeks, but I will be back with a new video in this series on intellectual giftedness. Till then, I only want to say 3 things. Thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you back in my next video. Bye!